You were always told to pray about it. You were always told to just have faith in God, let go and let God.
Ryan Little.
Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Eunique Williams, also known as the Curvy Med, and today I've actually been wanting to talk about a topic that has kind of been on my mind lately, and that is the Black church and mental health. I grew up religious. I'm a Black woman, grew up in a Black family, and grew up in a very traditional, conservative type of religious background, very strict. That's the denomination that my family was part of was Church of God in Christ, which a lot of people really, to my surprise, really don't know about. But basically, it's like the Black version of Pentecostal in that sense. Growing up, I could not wear pants. I could not wear makeup. I couldn't really do much with my hair. I was just plain Jane, and that's that. Nothing wrong with a plain Jane, but I wasn't given the opportunity to really explore that. Now, I will say that didn't start happening until I was around, I would say maybe in 4th grade. But prior to 4th grade, I grew up pretty much most of my life since I was born, like wearing pants, wearing shorts, you know, dipping and dabbling in like makeup and getting my nails done with my mom. For me, it wasn't until 4th grade where my parents kind of started to have like this shift in their spiritual life and growing closer to God. And with that, as a result of that, they kind of followed the traditions that my family had, which was, you know, kind of going along with the Pentecostal route. Even though I didn't identify as Pentecostal, there were a lot of similarities and overlaps within that. And so being a part of the Church of God of Christ, I could not wear pants, I could not wear makeup, no piercings, no tattoos, no none of that, no cutting your hair as well, no shaving, no none of that. So your girl was in high school, middle school, elementary school, just walking around like a hairy beast. Oh, and let me get into this. I actually wore skirts. I wanted to be a basketball player. Before I wanted to do this whole doctor thing, I wanted to be a WNBA player. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I really wasn't the best, but I thought I was good enough to make it. And so like that was a goal of mine. But you know, I digress. But anyway, back on the topic of the Black church and mental health. So that's kind of giving you guys an idea of like what my history is and what my experience has been up to this point. And it wasn't until college where I decided to really discover and explore my spiritual life on my own. And with that, as a result of that, I really put into question a lot of the beliefs that my family and especially my grandparents had passed down to me. And I thought to myself, I was like, okay, is it really a sin to wear pants? Is that a bad thing? Am I really gonna go to hell? Like, I kind of thought about all these different possibilities, and it just really didn't make sense. I read the verses in the Bible that talked about it, and were at least the ones that my family mentioned, and kind of did my own little research as well, and I just could not seem to understand what they were talking about. And I think that was really the kicker right there. That was the moment where I realized, like, your spiritual life and your beliefs really are your own, and they should be your own and not based on anyone else's understanding or anyone else's beliefs. And so that's kind of where it started for me. And as I continued on with my life, college was definitely a time, even before then, I would say it kind of started in middle school, where I really kind of dealt with a lot of mental health issues that I really was not aware of. And what I mean by that is, for me, it started in 7th grade. And I actually went through, I never really talked about this story, but basically, not really going into detail about it anyway, but I kind of had an interaction with another student, and they said something that really cut deep and hurt me. And because of that, I kind of just, it triggered and spiraled into a depressive episode, or really just depression. I was depressed from like 7th grade. Looking back, I was depressed from 7th grade all the way to like, I would say maybe 11th grade in high school. And every time I saw this person, I never spoke to that person ever again. Keep in mind, as a 7th grader, I was like a really nice kid, didn't really do anything to hurt anyone. And yeah, and so I would have panic attacks sometimes just from seeing this person. And I really struggled with that. I really struggled with my body image. They had told me at the time that no one would like me. It was really, really hard for a 7th grader to hear, especially someone who never had a boyfriend, never went out of their way to date, and was never really approached by anyone. And so because of that, that really triggered depression for me and anxiety, and that's kind of where it started. And I kind of started having attitudes. I was getting upset with my parents, talking back, and so acting out in certain ways. And because of that, it really caused a rift in my relationship with my parents. And I guess kind of getting to the point of this video, which is really about the Black church and mental health, is because I come from a very religious background. I am basically a preacher's kid, or a preacher's grandkid. And even with my own experience with my own family and church, honestly, you were always told to pray about it. You were always told to just have faith in God, let go and let God. Like, that's kind of what you typically hear as a Christian, or I'm praying for you, or, and that's great. And I'm not knocking that. And I believe in prayer. I believe it's effective, and I believe in having faith in God and being able to make it through situations. But I think it's not so, I feel like sometimes the Black church specifically even, and I say the Black church because this is my experience, and a lot of different churches I've been a part of or have been in, for example, never touched on that topic, shied away from that topic, or if that topic was brought up, it was almost as if it was kind of pushed to the side, as if it wasn't irrelevant, or if it's not a thing. And even more so with the Black community, mental health is not a thing. Traditionally, historically, has not been a thing. And so I'll tell you why. And again, this is personally just based on my experiences, and basically a collection of other people's experiences around me. And from what I've seen online, a lot of Black people have a lot of similar stories. And one thing that I will say, that I really believe that it has to do a lot with the generational differences. Number one, I really believe that we need to extend grace to the generations before us, because let's keep this in mind. As a race, as Black people, mostly, and I'm mainly talking about the ones that are American descendants of slavery. And specifically with this collection of people, I do know that we've always been in survival mode. Let's keep that in mind. Like, when you think about it, the trauma and the generational trauma and the constant trauma to this day, Black people have always been in survival mode. We're always stuck in survival mode, trying to live without being killed, trying to make it to work without being killed by the police, like trying to, make it home without being lynched. Like traditionally and over the years, this has been a thing, constantly in survival mode. And then you have this thing about respectability politics. That is a whole other thing, where you have to present yourself in a certain way that's appealing to the majority, that is appealing to, say, white groups of people. And because of this, a lot of the things that we deal with and the people that we come from have dealt with gets ignored, gets pushed to the side. So if you're constantly being put in survival mode, trying to work to make a living, your mental health gets put on the back burner. And I think that we have to, even though the difference now is that with this generation, we talk about mental health more often. I'm not saying we're perfect, we aren't fully there yet, but it's a conversation. It's brought up, more awareness has been brought to it. And I think that we need to continue to push that forward, because it's made such a difference in so many people's lives. And I really, really think that that is a conversation that is worth having and worth continuing. And so I really think that as we continue to have more generations of people who are open to these conversations and aware of mental health, so many different things that play a part of this. And I think that also one point I wanted to make is that mental health, especially within the church, is seen as a weakness. If you are sitting here crying and about your situation, knowing that there is a God that can do anything and above all things, then you're considered weak. You're considered weak unless you've gone through, and I noticed it always has to lie within some sort of extreme. Like you either have to have gone through something super traumatic or dealt with a terrible loss of someone close to you. And I just don't think that's right. I think that it's important to acknowledge that people will struggle mentally without having to lie within those extremes, you know? And I know this because of my personal experience, and so many others around me have been labeled as weak. Weak because you either show emotions or you display the fact that you are, or you're open about the fact that you are going through challenges mentally. And so I really think also the thing that we talk about and tell people as Christians to just pray about it. I think that while that holds some truth, I think it is a very dangerous approach to mental health. Because I think that people really forget that spirituality and your mental health are all within the same boat. Like, you can't separate those two. And I really think that prayer does work. Prayer is effective. And I believe in that. But I also believe that as human beings, we have emotions. We have struggles. And we shouldn't be expected to just get over it. I don't think that that's possible. I don't think that that's healthy. And I think that, especially within the Black church, we need to stop dismissing mental health. We need to stop dismissing the fact that people do struggle, and it can be just simple struggles on a daily basis. I really think that we should be very careful not to label people as weak just because they're more vulnerable and open about their personal struggles. We should not weaponize religion and just say that, oh, you need to read your Bible more, you need to pray, you need to do whatever it is that we do. Take that blessed oil, rub it over your head everywhere, speak in tongues. Like, I really think that it gets to a point where sometimes we weaponize religion and we completely ignore the actual reality that people live with. And I really think that as a church, especially as a church, we have to be more cognizant of that and aware of that and take responsibility and take accountability. It's going to take more than just prayer. And I think that we have to learn how to be more compassionate toward each other, to stop being so judgmental, because there are a lot of people out there with a very holier than thou complex, and they may think, oh, I tithe, I serve in the church, I do XYZ every day, a day of the week, I attend this many services a week, I do all these things, read my Bible, I do study plans, I've been on this plan for the last 500 days, and I'm on a roll and I haven't missed a day. Yeah, sure, great for you. But are we really accomplishing the mission of extending love to one another and showing love? And I think that one way we can really do that is really and truly just acknowledging that mental health is a real thing for people. And so I think that this is something that's going to take time. I don't think that we'll get resolution overnight, but I think the more and more we talk about it, the more and more that we bring awareness to it, the more and more we show people, especially the generations before us, how deeply rooted these issues are in our community, I think it'll make a difference. One of the churches that I've been to, they actually are doing a mental health, they're bringing awareness to mental health, Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, I think that's what it is. And they actually hosted a forum for the community to discuss with actual healthcare professionals and mental health professionals about mental health. And I think that that is something that is amazing. We need more of that. We need more of those things for people. We need to stop shying away just because we've been conditioned to believe that mental health is a weakness, because it's not. Struggling with it is not a weakness. And I think that having the tools and the resources that we have, and it's a privilege to have access to therapy. It's a privilege to have access to all of these resources, because not everyone has access to that. It's expensive. And I really think that as a collective, as a place where we're supposed to be spiritually feeding people, this should also be a place where we bring awareness to mental health and actually being okay with it, being okay with the fact that it's a struggle, accepting the fact that it's a struggle, incorporating it more into the things that we do and how we treat people and how we move about things and how we look at people, how we talk to people. That's something that I really want to see. I really want to see that, because right now I feel like mental health is not a thing for Black people or the Black church, and it's time to change that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I do discuss that on the many platforms I have, whether it's YouTube, my podcast, Instagram, TikTok. I truly believe that this is something that needs to continue to be brought forth. And simply because I've been told, myself, that like I'm a weak person for not feeling the way I feel, for struggling with depression, or people making light of my mental health struggles. And that's not okay. And I really want to be a resource for others. And I really want to encourage you all to not be afraid to speak up and stand firm in how you feel. I just wanted to bring forth this discussion on mental health in the Black church, and hopefully there is something that can continue to be done about this and addressing this. And let's continue this conversation in the comments, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.